Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Mr. President, can I make a quick announcement?
Okay.
As you have noticed, I'm not Lisa Ternay, and I'm not Tasha Hensley. I am not a transcriber. I'm not very good at taking minutes or shorthand. So I would ask that this body please speak into the microphones tonight so that the persons who will be transferring all of this to minutes will be able to make accurate minutes, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let the minutes reflect that we do have a quorum. We have 4 members here, and is Greg on the phone?
Mr. Van
So
Ler's
that's
on the
5.
phone.
5 of the 7. Right now, we need to approve the minutes. We need to do December's because we couldn't do them last month because we didn't have enough people from the December meeting. So if you've had a chance, those who were at the December meeting, to read the minutes from December, I would entertain a motion to approve them if you so desire.
Mr. President, I move we approve the minutes from December 13th, 2021.
Do we have a motion to approve the minutes? Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion.
You were here for that one.
Yep.
We have a motion and a second. I'm going to ask for a roll call vote because I can't remember. Adam, you were here. How do you vote?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
Barry?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion carries. Yep. All right, that takes care of December. Now, January's. It's been brought to my attention, and we really don't have enough that were at the January meeting to do the same thing the same way, but Robert's Rules of Order give a provision to approve minutes because at the end of a year, there can be a changeover, and you would not have enough members, current members, to constitute a quorum. So we'll use that and go ahead and approve the January meetings. Those who were here that have read the minutes of January, if they are acceptable, I would entertain a motion to approve them.
I move that we approve the minutes of the January 12th meeting.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion carried. Hope you're right on that.
If not, we'll bring them back before you.
Okay. All right, when we elected officers last month, we forgot to appoint a member to the Design Review Committee. Joe Neer had asked to stay on the committee, and he was approved, I think, by the council for that. Or, no, that's our job, isn't it? We just didn't do it.
Right.
So I would entertain a motion to reappoint Joe Neer to the Design Review Committee.
President, I move we reappoint Joe Neer to the Design Review Committee for 2022.
Here, a second.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay. All right, we have no new business. Well, actually, we do, but it's considered old business. Miles Farm, Section 1, since we didn't hear it a month ago. Final approval for a 100-lot major subdivision located on the north side of West Main Street, west of Mackey Road, 72.5 acres.
That- Clicker? Unfortunately, I think Yes, sir.
Mr. President, members of the commission, good evening. My name is John Moore, attorney here on behalf of your petitioner, D.R. Horton. With me in the crowd, I have Lisa Claghorn with D.R. Horton and Drew Zimmerman with our engineer Structure Point. Thank you for hearing this case tonight. As Mark said, this is section 1 of Miles Farm, 100 lots to be approved, final plat. We're seeking approval of that tonight. And so here in your packet I gave you, I put together a little summary of where we have been and where we are today. Back on April 7th of 2021, the town council annexed Miles Farm into the town of Danville. May 19th of 2021, the town council approved the Miles Farm PUD concept plan and rezoning of Miles Farm to PUD. On October 12th, 2021, the Plan Commission, this body, approved the preliminary plat for Miles Farm. And then we're here tonight with Section 1 of Miles Farm seeking final plat approval for that section. Here is the rendering that was approved back in October of 2021. This is the preliminary plat, the overall plan for Miles Farm. And then here on the next slide, this is Section 1, or at least the Section 1 area for Miles Farm. And you'll see there that it includes 58 lots in the estates section and 42 lots in the reserve section and 20.31 acres in the southeast development, all in accordance with the preliminary plat that was approved last October. You'll see that this is the southeast quadrant of the development. You'll notice down in the lower right-hand corner, the southeast part of the development, that's the future extension of Mackey Road that will be developed as part of Section 1 that then feeds into the subdivision, into the estates, and into the reserve area for those homes. The one item that's still being worked out, and we've been working diligently with NDOT now for over a year on this design. They continue to tweak some things there at that entrance on Mackey Road. NDOT's plan in the future is to extend and widen Mackey Road south of here and then take Mackey Road up through this development all the way out to 39. That's the NDOT future thoroughfare plan. So NDOT is looking at this to make sure how this entrance is designed meets up with any future expansion of Mackey Road as they then create a more of a thoroughfare up to 39. So what we have with this final plat is we've got a couple different versions of how it will lay out at the access point of Mackey Road. And here's one view of it. This is what was submitted originally, where we'd have a little curvature. This requires to get some offsite easement from mower zone and develop the road that way. Further discussions with NDOT. NDOT sort of likes this layout a little better for that road heading north. And so as NDOT continues to look at this, we continue to work with NDOT prior to any sort of construction or prior to this plat being recorded, because as you know, this plat gets approved, then we go out, and then once all the infrastructure's in and so forth, then it ultimately gets recorded as the final plat, which will be on down the road At that point, we will have more certainty from NDOT as to what they want to see. I mean, as recently as an hour ago, we received an email from Tim Watson with NDOT saying that, yeah, they think they like this layout a little better going forward, but that still requires some final tweaking on their end as we continue to move forward with this development. And they look how they want to align Mackey Road to the south there in the future so that we have that north-south road heading up to 39. So, that's really the only difference in the plan is that road might look like that, it might look like that. We're still working on NDOT to get through that, but that doesn't impact the rest of the final plat and the homes that are being, that will be developed as part of that. Of course, we'll have to have this figured out before we actually construct any homes up in the subdivision because this is the access point to those homes. The staff did submit a case summary for you on this. There's been a TAC meeting. That meeting was on January 20th, 2022. There were several comments to be addressed. Those comments have been addressed by Structure Point. And then you'll see there at the end, staff recommends approval of Section 1 based on staff comments above. Now, before tonight's hearing, I was handed a few additional comments that came out today from the town's engineers at Banning Engineering. And so I've got those in front of me, and we can certainly ask any questions of Drew that we need to ask. But to go through some of these comments, which all can be addressed, the ones that are highlighted on what was provided to me, says that the connection to the existing sewer is incorrect based on past negotiations between town and D.R. Horton, as it is a very critical part of the sanitary sewer improvements that the town is undertaking. I would recommend that this connection is corrected prior to final approval. It says that line A02 to A01 is too steep. This was explained to me. I will not pretend to tell you that I understand all the engineering of these things, but that's just simply we can put the line at whatever requirement the town wants us to and whatever the engineer wants us to. It just impacts the depth of the manhole. So it's an easy fix. It's just a matter of showing it on the plan at whatever angle the town wants, and then at that angle we would set the manhole to fit that angle of that, and we can certainly make it less steep on the plan and revise that sheet C421 to the town's satisfaction as to Mr. Selig's satisfaction as well. The other comment highlighted here, C451 to C455. Matt and I did not see size of homes listed to determine if meter service line sizing is acceptable. This was mentioned at the previous TAC. The size of the pads are on the plans, which drive the size of the homes. I mean, for these 100 homes, we've got minimum sizes in the PUD ordinance, but the size of the homes dictated by the pad. So we put the size of the pads on there. These homes are going to be 3 to 4 bedroom with a bonus room. You might have a few 5 bedrooms in there. But if there needs to be a notation added to the plan of a typical size of the homes, because obviously at this point we don't know the size of the homes because we don't have any buyers at this point. We haven't started any construction, but we do know the size of the pads, and the size of the pads then do determine what type of home or size of home you can build on those pads. We can certainly add something to that effect on the plans to address that comment. The last one, sheet C451, jack and bore not shown under US 36, connection to existing 12-inch main not shown on the south side of US 36. First, we certainly intend to do jack and bore. What jack and bore means is you've got, when you run the pipe under the road, and this is at the intersection of Mackey Road and 36 is where they're talking here. You dig 2 pits, and then you run a pipe under the ground, and then you put a smaller pipe in between that pipe, and that's how it gets under the ground. The other way of doing that today is what they call directional boring, which I think the consultant's not comfortable with doing. And so we certainly intend to do jack and bore, and we'll do that because that's what the town desires. That being shown on the plans is still somewhat subject to negotiations with NDOT. US 36 is under their jurisdiction, and so that's why it's not there in the final spot, but we certainly intend it will go there under 36 there at Mackey Road, and we will use the jack and bore. And as soon as the plan is finalized there for that intersection with NDOT, that certain location will be determined and added to the plans. So what we're requesting tonight is the approval of the final plat for Section 1 for these 100 homes. We will address these comments that we just received today from Mr. Seelig. Like I indicated, they're all easy fixes, and we can certainly address them and submit revised or notations to the existing plans to the staff, and then those will obviously be on there before recording of the plat when that occurs on down the line. So, any questions you have? We're excited to move forward on this project. I will say that time is somewhat of the essence on this for us. As you may be aware, we run into some deadlines when March, April time period for bat habitats and so forth. So we'd like to move forward with getting this phase 1 or section 1 approved so that then we can close with our seller prior to that April 1 date and begin some of the work there on the site before would have to pause anything for bat habitat. Is it April 1 is our bat habitat timeline? So developers always have to try to move forward with any clearing of any wood or any trees or woods prior to that date. We're happy to answer any questions that you have.
I do have. One of the questions I have is on the extension of the road. Once it gets beyond the current state highway right-of-way, that is under the jurisdiction of the town until such time that they give it to the state road. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So if an entrance is going to be moved to facilitate a better flow into the mower zone, that would be up to you guys to approve that, right? Because that's beyond the state highway.
Actually, I believe the road will belong to you or to the company until the project is turned over to us. Is that accurate? So it's actually their road until they've got final approval to turn it over to us for maintenance and care.
We'll accept it into town, and that's when it becomes ours.
Wherever they put it.
Well, based on approvals. That entrance probably needs to be figured out now because part of that road's gonna be built. It doesn't make sense to build the road and then cut a entrance in.
I understand. But it's pretty important to Zach back there, who's the owner of the mower zone, where that entrance needs to be. And I'm a little disappointed that we gave you a 30-day extension and nothing really got done. And today, we got at 5:30, I guess, we got this new drawing. I'm guessing you don't have it. So,
And I think those drawings relate to whether NDOT's going to have the curve there or whether NDOT's going to have softened that curve and how they want that entrance to look, which then dictates also that mower zone
well, they
access
pretty much
point.
took all the curve out of it until you get behind the mower zone.
Right.
So, maybe you could work it out tonight. You have the people here, don't you, that can make that decision?
I've not been involved in those discussions as to,
Have you seen the new drawing?
I have seen that, yes, sir.
I mean, those folks, your other folks.
Our folks? Yes.
Well, the NDOT sent it tonight, this evening.
The straightened out version. Here's a,
You do have that? am I
This
thinking?
is Drew Zimmerman
You're in
speaking.
the right direction. If that got moved up there a little
that exhibit was
farther,
created
I believe
for-
he'd be- I think he'd be happy. You need to talk to him. He's back there.
That exhibit shows the coordination between us and NDOT when they wanted to see a degree change in the intersection and shifting the road about 24 feet west. They just wanted to see what it would look like with the current conditions as we shifted it. So that's why we show that currently at this time.
Did they get to see the entrance coming off the mower zone as part of that? I'm sure they saw that because it was part of this drawing.
Are you talking about the connection to the north or the one that was to the
To the
current
north,
one?
to the
Yeah,
north.
so they have that from the original plan set that we submitted to them. And then this came out from the conversations that we had at the meeting on, I don't remember, Mark, do you remember what day that was by chance? It was the deadline day.
Okay.
So we had that discussion with them, and then they were asking for very specific things, and we've been producing, I think, almost like 8 or 9 different exhibits back and forth between them for the past week about what they want to see for that.
So the entrance to the north, that's almost behind their building, that's gone now. Is that
Well-
correct?
Well, that's not,
Or is it just not on this?
It's just not, it's,
On the
right now,
drawing.
they just wanted to see what it would be with existing conditions.
Okay.
If they transfer the road.
well, that wouldn't work there anyway. The proposal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else got questions about any of these other items?
No, my biggest concern is, I'll wait till we get done, but my only concerns are the comments made by the town's engineers. The road stuff I know is difficult because there's a lot of moving parts. You've got a private ownership, you've got a new development, you've got the state, you have the town. So I know I'm more satisfied seeing this drawing now that I seen today, that I'm not less concerned about that and more concerned about the sanitary and waters comments that we got today. And I'm okay with you clearing to get away from the brown bat thing, the Indiana brown bat. But I'm not too sure whenever we did this second final approval, what we'd agreed on is that when we came to this final meeting, everything would be ready to build. And I don't feel like we're quite there. I mean, I don't know if the town's engineer has anything to add to that, but that's kind of why we did this secondary plat. And I'm not sure the town planner had all the information that we got today for staff recommendations.
It's on now. Okay. Yes, we've been working back and forth with Structure Point quite a bit, and they've been addressing the concerns as we go along. There are still a few hanging chads. I think it's pretty obvious we need to
Well, wait a
kind of
minute.
clean up the plans a little
Young
bit.
lady?
You know, Barry,
So,
to your
is
point,
Is he I'm sorry.
so to your point, I mean, it is the Plan Commission's, I guess, since this is a new way to go about this, you know, do you want final approval on everything before you guys approve it? And you can basically just stamp the plans on the way out the door and they're going, or not. I mean, there's a lot of communities that do it that way. It's up to you guys how you operate that. From a overall concept perspective as to like where the water's going, where the sanitary's going, where the stormwater's going, how the road's basically aligned, right? I think we're all pretty agreeable on those look really good, but we're working through some of those details now to make sure that staff is comfortable with final construction. You know, it's not something right now I don't think you could give to a contractor and build it and the town would be 100% happy, to answer your question. So,
Well, since this is a final plat, right, that you're wanting to do on this section, that final plat has to be signed from this office by Barry and myself before it can be platted. Is that correct? Recorded?
Yes.
So if we would approve it, everything would have to be done, or we wouldn't sign it, basically.
And I think that happens in the future after we get the infrastructure in is when you guys
Yeah.
sign it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the last thing to do before they can pull permits and start.
But you wouldn't sign it tonight. I mean, that's.
No, I
yeah.
understand that.
I think what,
It's a Mylar that comes in, and that's what goes to the recorder's office,
Right.
isn't it?
I think what Barry's point was that the thought behind having the approval on the final plat, having that come to a vote, was that it would be essentially complete, not necessarily a Mylar ready to be signed, but that we weren't having to approve it with conditions and things that hadn't been resolved completely. Is that?
Yeah, I think the idea is not to have the staff deal with back and forth between the engineer and developer. All those things are supposed to be worked out at the final approval. And like I said, I fully understand about the bat thing, and I think we can kind of make everybody happy, but I think we also need to hear from the property owner as well when you open it up to the public, but,
Not a public hearing.
well, we should still hear from
Well, from
hear what they
him,
have to
yes.
say. Have a little bit of concern about that because of the traffic coming out of that business at an intersection with the proximity of that light. Have a little concern there, and if NDOT's okay with it and the property owner's okay with it, that's kind of an easy thing. That's why I say there's so many moving parts to that. I'm okay with working that out because it does involve NDOT, and there's a lot of things that have to go back and forth before we can get a final approval. But I think the things that are highlighted in this email that I sent, these are concerns that haven't been addressed, that to my knowledge, and I wasn't at the TAC meeting, they haven't been resolved. And they're not on the plans that, because what happens after this meeting is you give us a set of construction plans, we stamp those plans and we go to build. I personally don't feel like we're quite there. And if we need to issue a Rule 5 permit so we can do clearing and grading, I'm perfectly fine with that. I think that's amenable. I don't know, to get around the requirements, with the bats, I mean, that's acceptable to me, and then we can come back and get all these things cleared up so the plans are ready to go for construction. That's my feeling on it. And getting a clearing permit, it doesn't even require a permit. We just have to get approval from the town engineer to get the SWIP approval, and we can do that separately from the construction. Clearing's not an issue. I just think when we did the second meeting, we agreed that this would be ready to go. I don't want any miscommunication after it goes to the plan commission to when it goes to construction.
And so to understand what those items are, the ones.
These
Here,
that they've
yeah.
highlighted,
Yeah, and I will say, and I wasn't at TAC either, so I saw these the first time tonight.
Yep.
My understanding was that everything was done at TAC, at least when I've showed these to the engineer, that there was a letter of approval, and then these are sort of new comments they got. But I understand there's also moving parts, so that's what brings up some new comments as well. So, I mean, obviously, we're committed to addressing all of them. It's just a timing issue for us.
Yep, understood. I completely
Yeah.
understand. I think as much attention as this development got, I do not want to miss a thing. I mean, that's just where I'm at. I definitely want you to move forward. Go ahead, Joe.
I can speak. So, I mean, there were some pretty significant things at TAC that the engineers have tackled, and that's why there's kind of this second set of things, because there were some pretty significant things that got changed, depths of things and stuff. So it's kind of a whole new set of plans, and you get them at the end of last week, and then you're able to make some comments. So, I mean, that's why it's just kind of been that way. It's a little bit of an iterative process because it changed that much. A lot of times when you get into sections 2s and 3s, one set of comments, they're all done when you get done. But this first section with kind of the larger amount of infrastructure that's there, that needs to make sure everybody's is designed for the rest of the sections. It's a pretty critical thing, like Barry said, we want to make sure we get it right, and that's why it's just kind of taken a little bit of time to go back and forth.
You want to hear from Zach back there?
Yeah, Zach, they showed you that. What are your thoughts on that?
Pat Cooper, Mower Zone, wife Tiffany here. I don't really know what to think about it, guys. I have this whole list of things that I was just gonna kind of tackle down through, but it just seems like every other turn is a different set of plans. And I mean, Mr. Moore here is just clicking a button back and forth. It's like our livelihood, just boom, boom, boom. And we've been such in the dark on this deal. And I'm sorry I'm emotional, because I mean, we've been in Danville for 15 years, and it's our livelihood, you know, and not that I'm against this neighborhood, guys, at all. Hey, let's sell 950 push mowers, okay? But when we're talking about semi-traffic, you guys are Danville business residents. I mean, we'll get 4 semis in and out of that place a day in the spring, along with all of our commercial, and all of these darn plans. Sorry, I'm breathing heavy and everything else. All these darn plans, I don't see anything that accommodates semi-traffic. And again, I get this is what I get on Monday. I mean, this is a satellite view with some red lines drawn on it. It's like a hat trick to get this thing pushed through too fast, in my opinion. Sounds like you guys are potentially on our side, you know, being, again, residents and business owners here for over 15 years, but we're certainly willing to work this out, but I don't know the solution, honestly. What I just saw back there, I don't think is it. Lisa came in on Monday and said that NDOT might make that an entrance only off of Mackey Road. That's not gonna work, guys. You know, if a semi comes in off of Mackey Road, where they gotta go? Out that east entrance. How's that ever gonna work on a Friday night? You know, I saw a plan that had a north entrance out of the business to hit Mackey Road, and I'm not objected to that, but I don't know how it's going to work, you know, either, without major deconstruction of existing buildings and things of that nature. So, I mean, to ask me to stand here and say I'm okay with what I just saw, I can also say I'm not, you know, unfortunately for all parties involved here. We've got to protect what we have, you know, worked our darn butts off for, and the future. You know, I'm not going to say that we're going to have Mower Zone for the next 25 years, you know. Maybe McDonald's will want that corner lot someday. Well, we got to kind of protect that as well. You know, we got to be able to get in and out of there. So I'm not sure that helped, but thank you for hearing me, because this is, it's a lot, guys. It really is. So any questions for my
Well,
shaking butt?
That's okay. I do have a comment. We don't control what NDOT does, so
And I can appreciate that.
we're all in kind of a tough situation when it comes with that, but we're cognizant of that entrance, and we know, I've been here for a long time. When it was an IGA, it's always been a problem. It's still not the easiest place to get in and out of, but this is going to make it a little bit more difficult.
Sure.
And I think we can try to make it better. Does it require any easement or right-of-way on his property to build this as it's proposed right now?
Thank you, guys.
Wait a minute, Zach. Just a minute.
So is this Plan A or Plan?
Plan A is the curve.
Okay,
Plan B is more flattened out.
so Plan B is no. No,
That one is no.
okay.
Well, this proposal, the newest one, they have shut off that entrance that he currently has now, because the stoplight actually is going to have to move a little to the west, right? For that to line up.
And that, they're proposing that that's going to be a one-way
Well,
eventually? Or,
they've got a little stub street, a
Yeah.
new entrance off of that. If
Have you
that,
seen that?
I don't think anybody said it's gonna be, I don't think, can't make presumptions as to what NDOT says or didn't say. Like,
Well,
knows, and right now, I think if, as the engineers go, you're gonna give the entrance now is a two-way entrance, it's gonna be a two-way entrance.
Yeah.
When you're done, you're not gonna take it away, right? So that's the way it's gonna be.
well, okay, but what they're showing on here, that entrance needs to be moved farther north. Maybe the north edge of it, about where the front of that vehicle, where you park. You can see it on this one.
I got to spare one of those.
So, Mr. Thompson, I'll also comment again. I've been CC'd on some of the correspondence with NDOT, and they did say they would like that entrance moved up further north if possible.
They
And
don't?
I think they would. No, they would like it moved up north as much as reasonable, and I think to accommodate things.
Well, I think if they move that north a little bit and make it a little wider, he could instruct them semis to come in that east drive. And then, one of those did that the other day and turned and stopped, unloaded, and then he could go out that new entrance and turn and get lined up with a new stoplight. But you need to get that drawing and let him look at it and see what he thinks of it, and let NDOT look at it. You know, it's gonna take some time.
So let me chime in from hearing the comments from the commission, hearing the comments from Mr. Cooper. I do want to point out, this whole entrance area was NDOT's idea anyway. When we originally designed the subdivision, we didn't have this major entrance here. This is NDOT's, they're pushing this to happen. So we're sort of responding to them as well. But we're in agreement that we'll take this back. We'll get more detail. We'll try to get more final answers and Mr. Cooper and where his entrance will be, and try to get some more information from NDOT. We'll clean up your water and sewer comments on the plans. And let's just continue this for 30 days and come back, because I want everyone to be comfortable when this is approved. So
I like that idea.
we're fine with that.
If we need to do a clearing? No? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, here, let me give you that one too. That has,
Okay.
God doesn't like.
Mr. Van Leer has had to drop off the call. He could not hear very well, and he didn't think it was fair to have a vote if he could not hear what was going on.
So they don't want to do the clearing? Is that what I heard? Okay.
We'll go back and we'll talk about that and try to figure that out, if we can work with the current owners. We don't own the dirt yet. We don't own the
Okay.
ground. We haven't closed. We won't close until we have, plat approval, knowing we can
It all
build some
depends on the
homes.
weather too.
Good point, yes. Hopefully the snow melts sometime soon. But we'll work on that and see if we can find a solution to that as well. But we'll certainly address your comments and come back with something that hopefully we can make you more comfortable with. And
So you're
That's a
willing
good
to
one.
extend this 30 days?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then we need to vote on that, right?
I don't
Lisa
have a-
would say yes.
That's fine. I'm not Lisa.
All right, that makes sense. And hopefully we get that all worked out and come up with a better solution.
we agree.
For Zach.
We agree.
And those others. Well, okay, then I would entertain a motion to allow them to extend this for another 30 days.
Mr. President, I move that we extend for 30 days the final plat and construction plan approval for a major subdivision known as Miles Farm, Section 1.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Barry, roll call, please.
Ms. Levitt?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
Report of officers, of the officers committee and staff. Do you have any over there, Mr. 3-in-1?
Nope.
Okay. Amend rules of procedure. I didn't know that was on anything about that? Mark?
I'm here to run the AV, sir. That's all I'm here for.
Maybe it's to, pull it up there, Tommy, you got it?
I don't have it. I don't remember seeing anything on it.
Okay.
Let's,
Thanks, Will.
we just won't do
We
it.
couldn't get Greg on the
I'd make a
Teams
motion
meeting,
to
sorry.
adjourn, or I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed?
Take care, Greg. We'll talk to you later.
Get on the agenda, but I don't.
Well, ain't that big a deal.
Who made the motion to adjourn?
I did. Nancy?
And who seconded? Barry?
Barry.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, you already got it.
Huh?
Already got